going into and just the honor of being inducted?
Well, this kind of recognition is always great. Like I told Doug, it's long overdue, and it's anticlimactic now because it should have happened probably 30 years ago. But I'm excited about it, looking forward to it. It seemed like a great class with Shaquille O'Neal and Chandra Rubin and the center from the Jets. I forget his name, Kevin something. But anyway, it's a great class, and it's always good to get recognition for what you've done.
And then what about the thoughts on your career? First of all, just focus on your high school and college first.
Well, in high school, I grew up in a little country town called Tallulah, Louisiana. And I played high school basketball starting in 10th grade. I probably should have made it in 9th grade, but the coach wanted to play me at a forward position, and I thought I was a guard, so a little disagreement there. But, I enjoyed a great high school career. We won the state championship my junior year, and, went on to get an athletic scholarship to Grambling State University.
And then talk about your college career at Grambling there.
And then at Grambling, I guess this is the part where, you leave home at 18 years old and, you go to college and everything is so different. But the thing that impacted me so much at Grambling was my basketball coach was Fred Hobby. I thought was the greatest basketball coach ever. And then Coach Eddie Robinson, the football coach. He was the athletic director. And these two gentlemen really shaped my life as a man, what type of man I was going to be. Because I grew up raised by my grandmother, no father in the home, had uncles that kept me in line, but these two guys, Eddie Robinson and Fred Hobby, really set the course for my life.
Now talk about your pro career and that whole New Orleans, Memphis, right? Utah?
That's right. You got it, man.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. But anyway, I didn't really think about playing pro basketball, but my freshman year at Grambling, I played with Willis Reed. And so all the scouts were there to see him every game, and a couple of them, stopped by and said to me, you look like you got a good future, and, if you keep working and keep going, you should be able to make pro basketball. And I didn't think much of it, but, then I got drafted by the New Orleans Buccaneers, Babe McCarthy. In fact, I was just talking to someone earlier today about him. And he was the guy that coached at Mississippi State, and against all, I guess, the school and everybody in the South, he took his team to play Loyola of Chicago and sort of integrated that situation there in the NCAA. And he was a great coach, and he gave me a great opportunity.
And then how was that? Because the ABA back then rivaled the NBA.
Yeah, it became that way after, 4 or 5 years, but the thing about it is people didn't understand that basketball players are basketball players. If you could play in one place, you can play in another. And, starting at the ABA was my first year coming out of college. And so I had a choice. I was drafted by the Baltimore Bullets and then the New Orleans Buccaneers. And the story goes that, I didn't go to the NBA because they drafted Earl Monroe and I was going to be playing behind him, but that wasn't the way it was. I just knew that it wasn't going to play two rookies. And if he was number one, then they're not going to play number two. And then years later, Bob Ferry and a couple of other guys from the Bullets, we would have played both you guys at the same time, so. But I was just fortunate and happy that they had the ABA, and I had a chance to play right away.
And there were probably some fun memories with that ABA, because there were some talented guys.
Every time I go to some of these places and see, when I go to a basketball game and there's only a few people in the stands, I said, that's the way it was in the ABA. Only a few people in the stands until we got to Utah. But there were a lot of great memories from the ABA. I really had a good time. The thing about it was we were like the league out in the cold, coming from out in the cold or whatever. And so we, as a league, kind of stuck together as players, more so than they did in the NBA. But after like 4 or 5 years, when I came to Utah in '71, that's when we probably got on par with the NBA, and we started playing exhibition games, and we were beating them in the exhibition game. They said, it's just exhibition. And then a few years later, they had the merger, and all these guys, Julius Erving, Moses Malone, George Gervin, and a whole host of other guys came in, and they were half the NBA All-Star team. So then everybody realized how good the ABA was.
Final question, how great is it just to have a basketball career, just to how fun that life has been?
Well, I'll tell you, it's, I'm a fan, back to a fan now, and, I love sports. And basketball was a tremendous career. For me, I grew up in the segregated South, and my first year of pro basketball was the first I had a lot of dealing with whites. And, you know, it's just, it was an eye-opening thing because, you know, we had no association. And, you know, I got along with the guys good. And I tell a story about Red Robbins. You mentioned Red, who passed away about 4 years ago. And I tell everybody that, you know, when the guy asked somebody to write a note about Red, he was going to publish it in the newspaper. And I said, the thing about Red Robbins was, you look at him, he looked like a redneck or hick or whatever, but he was one of the nicest guys, and he was furthest from that as far as that image goes. And, you know, he was a great friend of mine. So.
Good stuff.
All right.
Okay, good.